Take a look at shares of Daimler. They are moving higher overseas after the board of management at Daimler-Benz has announced that it plans to split the company in two.
Mercedes.
The
Mercedes-Benz.
And this versus that. It is the battle for bragging rights between two of the world's biggest luxury car makers.
And I will go back to work now to try to help to make Daimler-Chrysler the #1 automotive company.
Daimler, which makes the Mercedes-Benz, says laying off workers will allow it to invest money into electric cars.
There's a secret inside every Mercedes-Benz. You don't see it, you hear it. For a century, that sound felt like a promise kept. The best or nothing. Then the promise broke. In the early 2000s, rush showed up on new cars. Electronics failed. Owners who once bragged now complained. The company that invented the car looked like it had forgotten how to build one. So what really happened? How does a legend slip like that? Behind the scenes, a $36 billion dream deal was tearing the company apart. Cultures clashed, trust eroded, the star was falling. But one man walked into the fire to stop the fall. An unlikely engineer who pulled off one of the greatest corporate comebacks of all time. This is the story of how a legend died and the impossible fight to bring it back. Our story begins not with a company but with a man and a dream. Carl Benz, born into poverty in 1844, lost his father when he was just 2. While his family struggled to survive, his mother saw a spark of genius in her son and sacrificed everything to send him to engineering school. There, he became obsessed with a radical idea, a carriage that could move without a horse. After years of grinding away in jobs that couldn't contain his vision, Benz opened his own workshop. It was a disaster. His partner was unreliable, debts piled up, and soon the local authorities seized his tools. His dream was about to die before it even began. And that's when the story's first true hero stepped in. Bertha Ringer, Carl's fiancée. In an act of incredible faith, she took her entire dowry, her life savings, and bought out his failing partner. She didn't just invest her money, she invested her belief in him. Now freed, Carl plunged into a frenzy of innovation. He patented the spark plug, the carburetor, the clutch, the gear shift, the very guts of every car we drive today. He wasn't just building an engine, he was building an entire interconnected machine. Finally, in 1885, he built it. The Benz patent Motorwagen, the first true automobile. The public was terrified. They called it the devil's carriage. Too noisy, too dangerous, and no faster than a horse. It was an oddity, not a revolution. Carl was crushed. But Bertha had a plan. In August 1888, without telling her husband, she became the first person in history to take a real road trip. She climbed into the Motorwagen with her 2 teenage sons and set off on a daring 66-mile journey to visit her mother. There were no gas stations, so she stopped at pharmacies to buy cleaning solvent for fuel. When the fuel line clogged, she cleared it with a hat pin. When a wire sparked, she insulated it with her garter. After 12 brutal hours, she arrived, and the world was stunned. Newspapers exploded with headlines. Bertha's audacious drive proved the car was practical, safe, and even liberating. It was the world's first viral marketing campaign. Orders poured in. New partners joined, letting Carl focus on what he did best, engineering. The Benz Velo, launched in 1894, became the world's first mass-produced car. For a time, Benz & Car was the biggest car company on the planet. But they weren't alone. Elsewhere in Germany, another dream was taking shape. While Benz chased reliability, Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach chased raw speed and power. In 1901, backed by a flamboyant racing tycoon, they built a car named after the tycoon's 11-year-old daughter, Mercedes. The Mercedes 35 HP was a revelation. With a powerful engine and a low center of gravity, it was truly the first modern automobile. It hit 56 miles per hour, a shocking speed for its day, and it dominated races across Europe. A legendary rivalry was born. Benz, the master of reliability, versus Mercedes, the symbol of elite performance. For 2 decades, they battled fearlessly. Until the economic devastation of World War I brought both to their knees. Facing extinction, the two bitter rivals were forced into a union or survival. In 1926, they merged. Their car would carry a new name, one destined for legend, Mercedes-Benz.
Meine Arbeit für richtig hältst. Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig meine Zeit verwendet habe.
The union that forged an icon would soon be tested by fire. Under the Nazi regime, Mercedes-Benz became a key supplier to the war machine. Its factories churned out military vehicles and aircraft engines. The luxurious Mercedes-Benz 770, known chillingly as the Hitler car, became an inescapable symbol of power. This alliance led to the darkest chapter in the company's history, the use of forced labor. By 1944, nearly half of the company's 63,000 workers were prisoners of war and concentration camp detainees, working in brutal, inhumane conditions. It's an undeniable stain on the brand's legacy, a dark truth the company had spent decades atoning for. After the war, Mercedes-Benz lay in ruins. Its factories were bombed, its assets seized. But out of the ashes, a renaissance began. First came essential vehicles, ambulances, police cars. Then, in 1954, Mercedes unveiled a car that was a defiant cry of beauty and engineering brilliance. The 300 SL Gullwing, with its iconic upward swinging doors, its sleek curves, its powerful fuel-injected engine, it became a global symbol of post-war hope. Mercedes was back. The brand's momentum became unstoppable. In the 1970s, the S-Class was born, which was a symbol of comfort, elegance, and above all, safety. Mercedes pioneered life-saving innovations which we now take for granted: anti-lock brakes, crumple zones, and airbags. They wrote the rulebook on keeping people safe. From the rugged, go-anywhere G-Wagon to the high-performance monsters built by AMG, Mercedes-Benz forged a global empire. By the 1990s, the three-pointed star was untouchable. Or so they thought. In 1998, Mercedes-Benz made a $36 billion mistake that would haunt them for years. It was a Daimler-Chrysler merger. It was sold to the world as a merger of equals. It was a lie. CEO Jürgen Schrempp later admitted under oath it was a stealth takeover.
I still believe that our merger of equals was fantastic. We are now Daimler-Chrysler. We are one company, and I think we will be successful.
The deception sparked a $9 billion lawsuit and poisoned the partnership from day one. A cultural war erupted. Daimler's rigid, engineering-obsessed culture clashed head-on with Chrysler's flexible, American way of doing things. The company was paralyzed by infighting. The financial impact was a bloodbath. The merger destroyed over 60% of the company's stock value. Chrysler, once profitable, began hemorrhaging money. The parent company was forced into massive job cuts, laying off up to 40,000 workers. But the greatest betrayal was to the customer. Under immense pressure to cut costs, the promise of the best or nothing was broken. Engineers were ordered to use cheaper materials and reduce testing times. The result? The unthinkable happened. Mercedes-Benz cars began to rust. Electrical systems failed, and the transmissions gave out. The brand, synonymous with warlike quality, plummeted to a dismal 25th place in reliability rankings. Once the undisputed king, Mercedes had lost its crown to BMW and was now a distant, tarnished third. The star was on the verge of burning out. Into this corporate inferno stepped an unlikely savior, Dr. Zita Setcher.
And we are brands passionately committed to sharing ideas and information, talent and expertise across brand lines and international borders in order to take full advantage of the global resources of our great company.
An engineer by trade with a proven record as a turnaround artist and a quirky, approachable style that shattered the mold of the rigid German CEO.
So Mercedes invented the car 130 years ago.
That is true. With this tremendous change, which is driven by new technologies, we are basically in the era of reinvention of the car.
He ditched the suits for sneakers and ate in the employee cafeteria. But beneath the charm was a relentless strategist. He had a plan to save the star, and it began with a painful choice. His first move was brutal. He had to stop the bleeding. In 2007, Setcher performed life-or-death surgery on the company. He sold Chrysler. It was a humiliating write-down, but strategically, it was genius. The deal instantly shed $18 billion in liabilities and freed Mercedes to focus on its core, just months before the 2008 financial crisis. With the company stable but its soul broken, Setcher faced his next battle, a crisis of faith. Nobody believed in Mercedes anymore, not even its own engineers. So he made a promise to the world, a return to the company's founding vow, the best or nothing. He empowered his teams to obsess over perfection once more. The new C-Class and E-Class models were again built like walls. Pride was being restored. With the company healing from the inside, it was time to go on the offensive. Mercedes had to be cool again. A new design philosophy, sensual purity, replaced boxy conservative styles with flowing lines and emotional appeal. He launched a sporty A-Class hatchback and the stylish CLA 4-door coupe. The strategy worked. The CLA achieved an astonishing 80% success rate. 8 out of 10 buyers were new to the brand and a full decade younger. The last front in this war was for global dominance. Setcher saw the future was in China, and so he launched an In China for China strategy, building local factories and tailoring cars with more legroom for the local market. The payoff was staggering. Sales quadrupled and China became Mercedes' largest market. Finally, he bet on the future, committing 12 billion euros to launch the EQ sub-brand and build at least 10 fully electric models, planting the seeds for the company's next great transformation. By 2016, Mercedes had done the impossible. 4 years ahead of schedule, they were back on top, reclaiming the crown as the world's #1 luxury car maker. Sales had doubled, the brand was aspirational again. Even fierce rival BMW paid tribute, releasing a viral farewell ad when Setcher retired with a playful caption, "Free at last." Today, under new leadership, Mercedes faces its next great frontier, the momentous shift to an electric software-defined future. The road ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear, the star still moves.